It is September the 6th, 2016. It is 11:35 in the morning here in West Michigan. And my wife just left to have lunch with friends, and I can sit here in the dining room making this video without her walking in. And I thought about making it in my main study, but I like the light out here in the dining room. So first of all, in my diary this morning, I'm on page 834. Usually I'll probably reach 1,000 pages. I usually reach 1,000 pages every year. Now, I'm using wide rule paper. Years ago, I used to use college rule paper, and so I didn't have that many pages. But I got into using wide rule paper, I don't know how many years ago. So that's where I'm at in my diary for October 2016. It's a Thursday, it's the 6th. This morning, I was reading a book that I got in the mail yesterday from a used bookstore in Alabama. It's called Imitating God in Christ, Recapturing a Biblical Pattern by Jason B. Hood. I got that. It's based on that verse in Ephesians in the New Testament, which says, "Therefore be imitators of God as beloved children, walk in love as Christ loved us and gave himself for us, a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God." So as Christians, we are to be imitators of God, and our pattern of life is to be Christ-like. So I got that in the mail. I've been reading that this morning. Also, I've been reading this book I got at Salvation Army the other day, From Sphinx to Christ, an Occult History by Edouard, Schure, Chure. I can't pronounce anything. I just read this. When I was reading this, the book reminds me back when I was in California in the counterculture back in the late 60s. People who believed in Atlantis and who believed in fairies and believed in leprechauns and all these kinds of weird things. So I was reading that this morning, just out of curiosity. I don't believe it. When it comes to history, I believe the history of the Bible, this plan of salvation, redemptive history, salvation history. But I read this kind of stuff because you want to know what the enemy believes. And it does say in the Bible that we are to, I think it says in Colossians, it says, I think it says somewhere about how we are to it warns us against myths and things like that. Yeah, it says about that. But anyway, I won't go into all that. Anyway, so yesterday I had to go to the library here in town where I volunteer at the used bookstore, and I had to get a book for my wife that she had put on reserve. And while I was at the library, I went down into the used bookstore and I found two books that I bought. One, I bought this art book on Impressionism for $5. I got this. As you know, looking at my videos, my favorite paintings are, the Impressionistic period. So I got this book, and You know, I just bought a book on Charles Monet. These are his paintings, the Japanese garden, and so it has a lot of paintings in here I've not seen before, and really a nice book. So yeah, I got that at the Book Nook for $5 for my art book. And then I also picked up at the library used bookstore this book, Oxford Companion to Christian Thought, Intellectual, Spiritual, and Moral Horizons of Christianity, edited by Adrian, Hastings, Alistair Mason, and Hugh Pyper. So I got that for $5, and it's kind of liberal, but it's only $5, and some of these articles are kind of interesting. So I got that. And then when I was coming home from the library, I stopped at a thrift store near where we live, and I found these books. I found this novel, Sea of Poppies, by Amitar Ghosh. He's a writer from India. I already have this in my library. I wasn't sure, but I can always take it to the Book Nook Saturday. So I found that. And I found a novel by Shirley Hazzard, The Bay of Noon. I was just reading her little memoir when she lived on the island of Capri, and her neighbor was Graham Greene, and I was reading that memoir. It's called Green on Capri. So I found this novel by her, Shirley Hazzard, Bay of Noon. And I found this book on the internet called Tubes, A Journey to the Center of the Internet by Andrew Blum. And I found another biography on Louisa May Alcott, a personal biography by Susan Cheever. They mentioned here author of American Bloomsbury. I also have that book in our library. She had her father was John Cheever, the American novelist and short story writer. I have her memoirs, Home Before Dark, about her father, John Cheever. And so anyway, I found that. So that's what I'm reading, that's what I found. Not much else going on. I got a CD in the mail yesterday by a group called Miviv, Coils of the Black Earth. Got that in the mail when I got this book on the Imitating God and Christ. So that's what's going on here this morning. I don't have any books coming in the mail that I remember. I'm still reading The Castaway Lounge by Jon Boilard. I read this yesterday, so I've been reading that. I have to get back into reading Serena by Ram Rash, and so much to read, and I get so easily distracted. So that's what's going on here in my book world and what's going on this week. And so until next time, bye.